If the Earth stopped spinning right now, it would be the most catastrophic event in human history. And no, you wouldn't just feel a little dizzy and grab onto something. You'd be launched sideways at over 1,000 miles per hour, faster than a fighter jet, before you even knew what was happening. You'd think stopping means slowing down gently, like a merry-go-round coasting to a halt. But that's not how physics works. Here's exactly what scientists say would happen, step by step, and one of the effects is so strange and terrifying that most people have never even heard of it. So first, here's something wild to wrap your head around. Right now, as you're watching this, you are spinning through space at roughly 1,000 miles per hour. The Earth is rotating that fast at the equator, constantly, every single day. You don't feel it because everything around you, the ground, the air, the buildings, the oceans, is all moving together at the exact same speed. It's like being on a plane. When everything's smooth, you forget you're moving at all. There's no turbulence, no wind in your face, nothing to remind you that you're hurtling through space on a giant rock. You could be sitting completely still in your seat, reading a magazine, totally unbothered, while you're actually traveling at hundreds of miles per hour, 30,000 feet above the ground. The only reason you'd ever know is if something changed, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. But the moment that spin stops, everything that isn't bolted to the planet's core keeps going. And that's where things get terrifying. The instant Earth freezes in place, every person, every car, every animal, every loose object on the surface gets flung eastward at jet speed. Not pushed. Launched. You'd be moving at 1,000 miles per hour through open air with nothing holding you. Buildings would be ripped from their foundations. Entire cities would be shredded. The surface of the Earth would basically become a giant slingshot, and everything on it becomes a projectile. Think about what happens when a car stops suddenly and something on the dashboard flies forward and hits the windshield. Now scale that up to every single thing on the surface of an entire planet, all at once, all moving at the speed of a supersonic jet. There would be no warning, no time to brace, no survival instinct fast enough to help you. The ground itself would still be there, but everything sitting on top of it, every structure, every vehicle, every living thing, would just keep moving forward at full speed with nothing to stop it. But that's just the first second, because what happens to the oceans is somehow even worse. Right now, Earth's spin causes the oceans to bulge slightly around the equator. The water gets pushed outward by the rotation, the same way water sloshes to the outside of a spinning bowl. The moment the spin stops, that bulge collapses. Massive walls of water surge away from the equator and pile toward the north and south poles. We're talking about sea levels rising by hundreds of feet in some coastal areas. Enormous portions of land that billions of people live on would go underwater fast. And the water wouldn't just sit there. It would keep sloshing and surging as the planet tries to find a new balance. Cities like New York, London, Mumbai, Tokyo, places that are home to hundreds of millions of people, would be swallowed before anyone had a chance to react. And this wouldn't be a slow-rising flood you could drive away from. The water would move with the same momentum as everything else, fast and completely unstoppable. Even places that aren't right on the coast wouldn't necessarily be safe, because when you're talking about hundreds of feet of water moving inland, the geography changes completely. And then the winds hit. The atmosphere was spinning with the Earth, too. Stop the planet and the air keeps moving. You'd get winds wrapping around the globe at speeds that make the strongest hurricane look like a light breeze. We're talking sustained winds, powerful enough to strip the surface bare in some places. If the flooding didn't get you, the wind would. The most powerful tornado ever recorded had winds around 300 miles per hour, and that was considered extraordinary. The winds from a stopped Earth would be more than 3 times that, covering not just one patch of land, but essentially the whole planet. There'd be nowhere to hide from it. Now here's where it gets really strange, because a stopped Earth means a completely different experience of time. Right now, one full rotation of Earth takes 24 hours. That's what gives us day and night. No spin means no rotation. So instead of the sun rising and setting every 24 hours, one side of the Earth bakes in direct sunlight for about 6 months straight, while the other side sits in complete freezing darkness for 6 months. The side in sunlight would reach temperatures hot enough to cook you. The dark side would drop so cold that the air itself could start to freeze. Neither side would be livable in any normal way. You'd essentially end up with two completely different uninhabitable zones, separated by a narrow band where the temperature might technically be survivable, but the conditions around it would still be brutal. It's not like you could just move to the middle and be fine. The whole system that regulates weather, temperature, and seasons depends on that constant rotation, and without it, everything falls apart. But here's the thing that most people never talk about when they imagine this scenario, and it might actually be the most frightening part of all. Deep inside the Earth, there's a massive ball of molten iron spinning around. Scientists believe that spin, the movement of that liquid metal core, is what generates Earth's magnetic field. That magnetic field is basically an invisible force shield wrapped around our entire planet, and it deflects deadly radiation from the sun. Solar wind, charged particles, radiation that would otherwise strip away our atmosphere and fry living things on the surface. If Earth's spin slowed or stopped long enough, that magnetic field could weaken or collapse. And without it, the sun wouldn't just give us sunburns. It would slowly make the surface of Earth uninhabitable. Mars lost its magnetic field billions of years ago, and today it's a barren, radiation-blasted desert with an atmosphere so thin you couldn't breathe it and a surface so hostile that nothing lives there. That could be us. The scary part is that this wouldn't happen overnight. It would be a slow, creeping process where the radiation gradually intensifies, the atmosphere thins out, and the planet just quietly becomes a place that can no longer support life. No dramatic explosion, just a slow fade into something unrecognizable. And because it would happen gradually, there'd be this awful period where things are getting worse and worse, but there's nothing anyone could actually do about it. So, yeah, no spin, no shield, no life. It's one of those connections that sounds like science fiction but is completely real. If you're genuinely curious about stuff like this, the weird hidden systems that keep our planet alive, drop a comment below with the next question you want Planet Plonk to answer. Seriously, read through the comments on this video because there are some incredible questions in there already. And if you haven't followed the channel yet, do it now, because we post a brand new mind-bending question every single day. Now here's the good news, and it's actually pretty amazing. Earth is not going to stop spinning. It has been spinning for 4.5 billion years, and it's only slowing down by a tiny fraction of a second every single century. We're talking so slow that it's basically not happening on any timescale that matters to us. In fact, billions of years ago, Earth was spinning so fast that a full day only lasted about 6 hours. 6 hours of daylight, 6 hours of night. Done. The moon's gravity has been gradually pulling on our planet like a brake this whole time, which is why our days are longer now than they used to be. So even the slowing that is happening is incredibly gradual. We're talking about changes that play out over hundreds of millions of years, not anything you'd ever notice in a human lifetime or even across all of recorded history. The planet has been doing this long before any of us showed up, and it's going to keep doing it long after. So the Earth keeps spinning, the magnetic field keeps protecting us, the oceans stay where they belong, and you get to keep standing on solid ground without being launched into the sky at 1,000 miles per hour. Which honestly is a pretty great deal when you think about it. Follow Planet Plonk for a new mind-blowing question every single day. And if you want to keep going right now, the next video is going to absolutely wreck your brain in the best way possible.